You could accept the fact that the city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion. Biblical. What it means is Old Testament. Yeah, Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling. 40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
Broadcasting live from the WDCE studios out of the University of Richmond. You're listening to 90.1 FM from the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell. I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning. Want to thank everyone, of course, for joining into the show. Yes, it's 10:18. A shout out to Citizen Germ on the other side of the glass. 10:18 here on the 22nd day of July in the year 2023. Have disruptions going all over this morning, and people want to talk about Lord Blanket. I'm just here to tell you right now, yes, even though I'm wearing a Santa hat, and it seems to be that Lord Blanket only comes around on the holiday season, at least that's what they tell me. But one of the things that is interesting right now is that there's been disruptions, and I've heard whispers that it's because of Lord Blanket. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, no such thing as a Lord Blanket. Would you guys stop with all of that stuff? I don't want to hear. I see somebody sitting in the back say, well, who are you talking to every time you mute the microphone when you're going live with people? Like, no, wait a minute. I'm trying to just talk with producers. Just producers, people running the show, making sure that we can do what we always do, and that is set the standard, raise the bar, doing what we were born to do, being better, doing better, winning better, because that's what we do here on Saturday morning. And you say, well, what do you mean by that, Sam? Sam, why the hell do you have a Santa hat on your head in the middle of July on a Saturday morning? And I would say, well, that's very simple. It's very simple because we are celebrating Christmas in July. And you say, well, what do you mean by that, Sam? What do you mean Christmas in July? Well, I'm going to tell you that when I say Christmas in July, what I mean is that we have been bestowed one of the best gifts that a real media puppet can be bestowed upon, and that is being recognized as one of the top 5 radio shows, morning radio shows in Richmond, Virginia, by our friends at the Richmond Times-Dispatch. You say, well, who is that? Well, that's the newspaper of record. The newspaper of record, the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Yes, about a month and a half ago, we had the nomination round, and all of you out there really helped out with that. So we want to thank you for all of you for nominating us. We were up against 19 other morning radio shows in the category, and we made the top 5, which is, once again, an accomplishment. We're very excited, humbled by it, because here we are. People always talk about media puppets. It's very derogatory. I can't even select puppet as my pronoun. People want to bitch and moan about pronouns, and then all of a sudden I can't sit there and do it. I can't do it. I can't sit there and select puppet as my pronoun. I can't, and it's really upsetting me. I should be very upset. I should be one of the people, but I should be a puppet out there fussing around, holding up a sign, looking ridiculous. But I don't. Listen, I'm not upset. Yes, I am upset. I am a little upset because, I look and I see all those humans. They're always called, puppets. Oh, well, here's this media puppet, and here's this political puppet. I could really, hell, I might have like a case about this. I'm going to sue you for using that pronoun, and I can't even select it. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Listen, because you know what? I rise above the hate. Rise above all the discrimination that I get as a real media puppet. But outside of that, what we did? We made the top 5. It's the second year in a row that we've done this. So obviously, because what we do here every Saturday morning, setting the standard, raising the bar, being the only radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real media puppet. Yes, it's one of those things where here we are and we need your help. And you ask, well, Sam, how can we help you? Well, at 10:22 on the 22nd day of July in the year 2023, you should be texting the number 901. That's right, 901. Text 901 to 804 569 5678. That's 804 569 5678. Text the number 901 to that number, and you can do that every single day, every 24 hours. Do that every 24 hours to vote for me, the most trusted puppet in media. Listen, the idea is that we need to at least get into the top three. Listen, I know my buddy John. So my buddy John is in the category with me, and so the interesting thing yeah. So the interesting thing is that we have a relationship, and even though we have a relationship, one of the cool things about it is that he's won it the last couple of years. Now I do have a phone call coming in. I see the blinking. Do you guys see the blinking over there on the camera? Let's see if we can grab this. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. This is radio in and of itself being, live on the spot. I have no idea what the heck is going to happen. So we're going to pull this up, pull this person in. Okay, caller, you are here live. Listen, you're disrupting me here on my opening monologue, and this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm doing a broadcasting, one of those things where I'm taking a risk. So, caller, you are here live here with the most trusted puppet in media here on the opening segment while they talk about Lord Blanket disrupting all kinds of nonsense. Can you hear me and state your name, where you're calling from, what's going on? Hold on.
It would only be me interrupting you.
Oh my gosh. Well, of course. Listen, you're the only person that I would want to be interrupting me. Good morning, Brucey. How are you? Listen, it's been an interesting morning so far. I don't know if you've been listening, but we have been going over the top 15 songs of Tony Bennett. Now, there was some disruptions going on, but while I have you on the phone, I want to ask you a couple of questions here before we let you go. And but before I do that, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. That was number 19 on the Billboard charts in 1962. The Good Life, number 18 in 1963. Solitaire, number 17 in 1951. Have a Good Time, number 16 in 1952. And Blue Velvet, 1951, number 16 in 1951. Here in My Heart, number 15 in 1952. I'm telling you, Brucey, listen, it was interesting. Oh, here you go. Oh, that's right. Number 14, 1963, I Want to Be Around. And number 12 on the Billboard charts in 1951, I Won't Cry Anymore. So before, listen, I just wanted to just kind of go over those. Tony Bennett passed away, Brucey. He was considered one of the last he's considered the last crooners. And in fact, if you go back and you listen to interviews with Frank Sinatra and all of those individuals, they would tell you that Tony Bennett was actually the one that inspired them. So I know, Brucey, you are quite cultured. You know everything from blues to jazz to rap. So I'm sure that you're very familiar with crooners as well in that whole musical genre. What is your thoughts on Tony Bennett, the passing of Tony Bennett, how he inspired music throughout the course of 8 decades? You can imagine that, 8 decades. Brucey, you have the floor. Go ahead.
You know what? I am not a whole lot familiar with Tony Bennett.
Oh, okay. All right. You're not. So, are you familiar with any crooners? Like, let's say Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., any of those guys?
A little Sinatra. Would you consider Tom Jones a crooner?
Oh, absolutely. Tom Jones is not unusual to be loved by anyone. Yes. Tom. Yeah, well, you know what? Tom Jones might be maybe he might be the last one now. Now that Tony Bennett has passed away.
Yeah. So I like Tom Jones. I'm sure Tony Bennett inspired. I don't know. They seem like they might have been around the same age.
You know, they might have been. I'm not really sure. I don't have that up in front of me just right here in the moment. But when it comes to okay, so here's a good question. Okay, so you have been doing music production for how long have you been doing music production, Brucey? So you've been doing music production for the a better part of 10 years. You think about sampling things. Uh, what is the when you're sampling something, sometimes people sample things that go back way back. When you're deciding whether or not you want to sample something or you do or you don't want to sample something, what are the parameters in which you decide you want to sample something when you're creating new music by sampling? How's that whole process work out for you creatively? Not let's say everybody, but just you creatively.
It would have to fit into whatever I'm talking about.
Okay, keep going. Expound on that for a few moments.
So like, so if I sample something more, so it'll have to be like, okay, like I Need a Hero, right? Me and Cass did the I Need a Hero. So like when you sample something like that, it has to fit in. It has to fit in the context of whatever I'm singing or rapping about. I'm not gonna make my lyrics are not gonna be worked around whatever the sample is. The sample has to be worked into whatever I'm talking to. And in a lot of ways, sometimes I like to work it into where like maybe I have my lyrics and then the sample actually finishes it off. I don't.
No, right, absolutely. No, I completely understand what you're talking about, but it's interesting because you could essentially when you think about sampling and you think about having access to all the songs that have been produced, and then you taking an old song and manipulating it and using it for your own creative song. I just think that that's an incredible thing. I didn't know you mentioned I Need a Hero, but I'm sure that there are probably other things that you could use in the future in terms of crooners and stuff. But I do like the fact that you mentioned it just has to fit, I guess is what you're saying. It just has to fit. It just has to work in terms of the creative process. But you have a whole library in terms of all different genres. And so it must be unique as an artist who does use sampling to be able to have such a library to choose from at any given point. Is that not correct?
Yeah, you got to kind of listen to everything too. Even though I mainly do like rap, mainly I listen to in day to day in my day to day. Mainly I'm listening to like classical music or some oldies. I don't really listen to rap actually, even though I do mainly rap. I don't listen to rap really.
So where does your inspiration? So you don't listen to rap, but you do write rap and hip hop lyrics. Where does the inspiration, I guess, lyrically come from? Because that's what you do, but you don't listen to it. So is it just because you had a good education in English class? What the hell's going on over here?
Yeah, I mean, like I just pull from life experiences. I don't talk about anything that I haven't done or isn't true. It's all fact based. So anything that you hear me say, even though it may sound crazy, there's always some type of truth to it. I may have just made it. I may have just lyrically, I may have dressed it up to sound a little more interesting, but it's always true. Me and Lambos, as you notice, I don't have about luxury cars and vacations in Maui and all that stuff because that's not what I do.
No, that's good. Well, because what happens is that then your creative outlet becomes authentic, and I do believe that most people just in this day and age, they just want something authentic, like a real media puppet on a Saturday morning hosting a radio show, talking to you, Brucey, aka Jesus. Now, you and a buddy of mine, Casual Toy Collector, have a show that happens every Friday and Saturday night. Could you talk about that real quick before we head out?
So we have a show. It's called the Casual. called Casual Toy Collector on YouTube, and it's on Friday and tonight, Saturday at 10:30, and we go from 10:30 till about. We usually run it at least 2 hours, but sometimes, a lot of times, last night I think it went till about 1. But yeah, we do it on YouTube, and we're streaming live on that and Instagram as well. Casual Toy Collector with a K.
Well, you guys do an amazing job. Like I said, you guys are brothers from another mother, and is what the kiddies say. But listen, every Friday and Saturday night, I'm usually there down in the chat. Sometimes I'm there at the beginning of the show. You guys allow me just the gracious opportunity to introduce both of you. Once again, the tag team champions from Augusta, Georgia. And I just wanted to let you know that it's really an honor to be there every single night, hanging out with both of you. There's not a lot of places. There's not a lot of places that people can come and chill, talk about action figures and toys. Most people are out and about. Maybe they're doing questionable decisions out in on a Friday and Saturday. Most people do their questionable decisions on a Friday and Saturday night. But here we are. We're just hanging around, and just enjoying each other's company, talking about toys, action figures. Sometimes the rabbit trail goes a little bit further and deeper. It is an adult show, so we do recommend that people who do show up are of age. But by 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, you should already have your children in bed. Now, Brucey, the last thing before we let you go, it is 10:33 here on the 22nd day of July in the year 2023. Real quickly, where can people follow you on social media? And also, where can they follow the show as well? One more time.
It's Casual Toy Collector on YouTube and Instagram, and then you can follow me on Instagram at Chattown USA and YouTube Chattown USA with Bruce Banner. I'm really on there a whole lot, but you can follow my page if you would like.
Well, right on. Well, listen, I want to thank you for calling in. Listen, there's not too many times where I just answer the phone when it's blinking. And I'd sometimes take a risk, but I figured that it'd be you, just like how you guys take a risk. Real quick, before you head out, what is the one risk? I didn't have a call screener before I answered the phone. Sometimes I do, but this time I did not. I took a risk. I just answered the phone. You guys have a risk that you guys do as well. What is that risk that you guys do on when you're streaming on Friday and Saturday nights?
We drop the link and let anybody that wants to join in, you're able to join in live. So dropping the link is very risky because somebody could pop on there without any clothes if they decided to. And
we don't want that. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, but listen, it is definitely a broadcast risk. I do it here when I answer the phone, but I figured it was you. And I was like, well, you know what? That might be Brucey. Let me answer the phone. And of course it was. So I was thinking, tell my buddy Flex I said what's up. I know he wants these sweet pink cheeks, but he's not going to get them. At least not right now. But tell him I said what's up. Brucey, thank you so much for calling on the show. I will see you tonight, at least in the chat, possibly to introduce you, which is always an honor. And 10:30 tonight. Okay, there might be a treat. Okay, Casual Toy Collector, the Casual Toy Chat. Brucey, you have a wonderful weekend. Of course, I'm sure I'll talk to you off the record later this weekend as well. So you have a good one, sir. Absolutely. That is Brucey. Brucey hold on. And Brucey, aka Jesus, yes, from the Casual Toy Collector. That's where there every day. It is 10:36. Listen, I have the phone all dropping all over the place, going on over here. Okay, so listen, normally we don't take calls in the first segment, but you know what? I took a risk because my buddies at the Casual Toy Collector take a risk by posting the link. So I just answered the phone without any. Without any call screeners, and it all worked out. Setting the standard, raising the bar, 1037 here on the 22nd day of July in the year 2023. Make sure you dial 901 to 804 569 5678. That's 901 to 804 569 5678. And that way you can vote for me for the best local morning radio show. I'm going to be playing a couple of Tony Bennett themes here, and then we will have Deep Cut Dave joining us probably in about 10 minutes when we come back. We're going to play about 2 or 3 of these Tony Bennett songs. Come back on the other side of the break as we celebrate the life of Tony Bennett, the last crooner of crooners. Well, I don't know. Who did he say? Tom Jones? He said Tom Jones. It's not unusual. Maybe Tom Jones is still a crooner. So maybe he's the last one. Who knows? At Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Twitter, at Sam Newsman on Facebook, at Sam Newsman on Rumble, Sam Newsman on YouTube, Sam Newsman on TikTok. And make sure you download the Live 365 app. Search WDCE. Good morning, Dead Man. Good morning, Skyfall. Good morning. I said, what is it? Skyfall, Big M. I see a whole bunch of people down there in the chat. Yes, I do see all of you. I believe there was someone else, Controversial Toys. I thought I saw that. Destiny Marie, the lovely Destiny Marie. Anyways, here we are broadcasting live on a Saturday. Here on the only radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning. Hosted by me, a real media puppet. From the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning. In the middle of an island, in the middle